Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Is that our intro? We're in. Paul Gilbert here at Music Villa, Bozeman, Montana. I am Paul as well, and man, I'm excited.
Woohoo!
This has been a long time coming. We've been working on getting Paul Gilbert to Bozeman, Montana for years, and super excited. Not only are you here doing a clinic, but myself and my son are jamming with you tonight.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a nice little clinic, and looking forward to it. I was hearing you play that those last couple of things. We were just talking about your slide, how you do all the vocal parts on slide. Let's just roll right into some couple questions. Tell us about some of the slide work you're doing, because we were just talking about that.
Well, I've always wanted to be a singer, and I've got a very limited vocal range. My vocal range is about the same as having a guitar with just the bottom two strings.
Okay.
You know, I can hit that note. I can hit that note, but if I start getting, I can hit that note, but then that's about it.
Yeah.
And I start, sounding like Yosemite Sam, or I can't.
Right.
As I start making serious tonal compromises, as I
Gotcha.
get by there.
Well, it's a good thing you have guitar skills. It's good. You're covered.
But when you listen to rock singers or any singer,
Yeah.
they've got those other strings. They hit you hear Steven Tyler going, I'm back. That's the note of back in the saddle.
Right.
And I don't have that with the kind of tone or control that I need.
Right.
But if I conjure some decent vibrato, or get that thing from the slide. Let me get it right. Then
Gotcha.
I start to be able to experience what a singer might experience when they get something right.
Totally, yeah.
If I manage to get it right.
Cool. I did see a video of you doing that with Black Dog and stuff, and so I'm looking forward to that. I was wondering when we first talked about it, I was like, wow, he's singing all those. That's cool.
Well, I am, just not with my voice.
Yeah, exactly. But it's really cool the way you do it, and I'm looking forward to doing that. And I love your slide holder.
The way I get it on there is a magnet. This is actually the first prototype. I have a tech in Portland where I live. We've done about 6 different ways of installing magnets.
Yeah.
And it's really simple. I mean, you just get a strong magnet and you glue it into the guitar.
Yeah.
The closer the magnet is to the slide, the stronger it is. So if you
Right.
put a little notch in this one, it doesn't really make a difference. The one we're working on now is the pickguard is totally unmodified and it works just as well.
Gotcha.
And people sometimes wonder, like, oh, will it affect the pickup because the pickup's magnetic?
Right.
It doesn't. It's too far away.
Perfect.
And
It's
if
cool.
anything, it's not in a drawer somewhere where you can't find it. It's right there.
Yeah.
And the other thing it's made me do is think horizontally, because that's one of the problems with guitar as an instrument is when we take lessons, you learn scales. They tend to be across the neck that way.
Yeah.
And those same notes exist, horizontally.
Sure.
And depending on if they're horizontal or vertical, your phrasing and your rhythm and your sliding will be different. It's a lot easier to slide horizontally. Right. So if I go, that's a lot easier than like. It's really hard to find that.
Well,
of course,
vocal things,
there are advantages to having it vertically because you get more typical guitar. The Jimmy Page licks are going to work that way.
Totally.
But the Robert Plant licks, that's going to work better, that way. So
Cool. I hope I come in at the right time on that tonight.
we look at each other and
we're
hold.
going to look. All right. We were talking about that. The hardest song I've ever had to learn is the timing on Black Dog.
The most important thing with the timing of that is the ability to do this with your eye.
I'm with you. I'm gonna give you a big stick raise.
Exactly.
Well, that's cool. So, and you're in standard tuning.
I'm in standard tuning because I want to be able to play my normal stuff too.
Super cool.
And it's the things I've discovered. I'll talk about the clinic tonight.
Yeah.
But I went to school for a year, so I learned enough music theory for it actually to help me.
Right.
And a lot of times with my students, I'll get them to use the language of intervals.
Yeah.
Which, if you play your scale, the do, and if you count those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and really that's it. After that, it starts over. But 1, 2, 3, 5 is like the magic for melodies.
Gotcha.
Every melody is its own thing, but it's so common and so useful and so
Right.
good sounding that 1, 2, 3, 5. That you got to know that everywhere.
Gotcha.
And that's not taught. People don't teach you that.
Right.
So
They just do it in order.
If you learn, that's all 1, 2, 3, 5 in various orders.
Gotcha.
And an example would be, which is Close Encounters, that movie theme, And that's only, it's different order, but it's the same 2, 3, 1, 1, 5.
Gotcha.
The octaves don't count. Those are both ones. So 2, 3, 1, 1, 5. Or you take what's that song? The Grieg. Is it?
Yeah, right.
Mood, the classical piece. That's 5, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 5. It's the same numbers.
Right,
Or take that. Let's move it down to E and change the order. That's Barracuda. It does hit the 6 as a little flavor note, but essentially it's the same as my tune, Green Tin 60s Mine. That's 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 5. Same intervals.
Right.
And that's the same as so
Totally.
it's so and the thing with that is it's good notes, but you're purposely leaving out there's no fourth, no sixth, no seventh.
Yeah.
And this is the reason I'm bringing this up is I'm assuming there's guitar players are watching.
Oh yeah.
And if you're a guitar player, you haven't been practicing that. You've been practicing every all of them.
You're always taught that. You do the scales, and then you do them, and you kind of do them in that same time.
And it's really a different way of visualizing. And slide is great for that, to be able to go like, to know where all that was 1, 2, 3, 5, and to do the low 5. And to know where that is, you got one there, you got one there, so that would be 3, 4, 5. But that's bad finger.
Oh yeah.
And those kind of melodies, I wouldn't have been able to find that without really looking for it before.
Right.
But now, visually, I've got the fretboard so mapped out with with intervals. Is it 3, 4, 5, 1, and then 7, 7, 6, 5, 4, 5, 5, 3.
Yeah.
And just knowing where those intervals are, suddenly melodies becomes so much easier to grab a hold of.
Yeah.
And so tonight, when we do Tomorrow Never Knows, which is again, 3, 3, or I'm in a perfect pitch, so I got to find it. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 5, 3, 1, 3, 1, 5, 1, 1, 1, 7, 1. But it's actually kind of because there's the chord of the 70s.
All I do is just hit stuff.
Yeah,
I don't.
That's one of the fun thing about drums. You don't have to worry about that stuff.
You don't have to think about anything.
But when we jam on that, it's the same bass note the whole way through.
Yeah.
So I can get real modal.
Yeah.
Whatever I play defines what the harmonic structure is.
Totally.
So if I start going like. And that's the melody of a Beatles song called Girl. Is there anybody going to listen to my story? Or all about the girl who came to stay? And that goes into harmonic minor. Or if you do like, what's that other Beatles songs? Like,
was your Beatles one of your first influences?
Oh, yeah. That sort of set up my melodic structure.
Okay.
Or like,
listening to these tunes, I was like, that's another one I was kind of like, what the heck is he doing? And just the guitar parts and everything about the Beatles is just so cool. But the drum parts are amazing too. Everything about it is like really, I love breaking them down and listening to them and learning them because you're like,
well, it's easy for guys like us who are on the cusp of being old guys to appreciate the Beatles because it was still on the radio when we were a kid. But I know like for like post-Metallica ears, a lot of kids are like, I just don't get, and I have a feeling what it is like every generation has its texture. Yeah. And the Beatles, the texture of those recordings, it was at a time when nobody had like really fuzzy guitars. Right, yeah. And the snare drum didn't sound like an explosion. Yeah. And that stuff's exciting.
It's exciting.
And so, if you grew up listening to, a Metallica production and then you go back and listen to something recorded in 1963, you're going to be going like, oh, I'm not interested in this.
It's like watching a movie with my kids. I go, oh, you guys got to see this movie. It's like some old movie, you know, from
the
the
pace
80s.
of it.
And then we put it on, and they're like, this is horrible.
Yeah, that's not a real dinosaur.
Right.
You know?
You're like, oh, you had to be there.
Yeah.
So. But no, the Beatles stuff is cool. You know what I miss, though, is like, I'm listening to it on my old stereo. You could pan, remember?
Oh yeah,
But now
and that was when stereo was invented, so they were still figuring out what to do.
Yeah,
and a lot of times they would just pile up the instruments on one side and the different instruments on the other side, so you could figure stuff out.
You could figure the bass part. You could turn it left, and you could hear all the bass lines.
The early Van Halen records are like that.
Yeah,
and Deep Purple too.
Yeah. But now you can't do that.
Well, now you have like isolated guitar tracks on YouTube.
Right.
And the amazing slow down, it's unbelievable what you can figure out.
True. Tell me about DiMarzio. You and DiMarzio have been together a long time, and he lives here. He's a sponsor today of the clinic, and Ibanez, of course. So, how did you and Larry first start doing stuff together?
Well, way before I knew Larry, of course, I was a kid playing guitar.
Yeah.
And I would see the ads for DiMarzio pickups in the magazines, and the guys in Kiss used them, and Al Di Meola, and all the legends had DiMarzio pickups, and so I thought, well, I got to try one of these. And there was a pickup, the one kind of started all the super distortion.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that's for me.
Totally.
So I didn't have a lot of money, so I got a used super distortion and put it on my Les Paul. That was my first electric, and just everything got louder. Now the thing that the name of it, super distortion, I thought it was going to be like installing a distortion pedal in my guitar where it would just be always distorted.
Right.
And it wasn't.
Right.
It's just more output and a different character and feel of your guitar.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like just constant
fuzz. Isn't that funny,
fuzz.
the things that kids think of like that? That's funny. I had a guy.
Well, there was no YouTube. You couldn't check out a demo then.
True. I had a guy, if his tuning keys, they were in a certain spot, and that's where he thought they had
I thought that too. I thought you just got to get them lined up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's funny.
But anyway, I got the super distortion. Not only did it sound good, but it looked cool.
Yeah.
And really, ever since then, and it sort of got me thinking about what a pickup is. Different wiring schemes, like having it in series or parallel, or single coil settings or out of phase stuff.
Yeah.
And that idea of like hot rodding your guitar, and not only with the maybe a better pickup, but also just wiring capabilities, all those sounds I became really curious about. And as time went on, I started to have a career, and I actually got to meet Larry and got to meet the guys that designed at the company.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that was funny is, they would always say like, well, if you want to do like a signature pickup, tell us what you'd want, and I was really bad at giving them an answer because I liked the stock models.
Right. Yeah.
It was like, well, I don't really want to change anything. It's working perfectly now.
Yeah. Don't mess with it. Yeah. And then did this one come out? These smaller, the mini humbuckers, or did they?
This actually is a signature one.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think I got interested in it because of some of my heroes from the '60s and '70s, like Johnny Winter, who was a slide guitar master.
Right.
And I've always loved his tone. And he his famous instrument was the Gibson Firebird that had two or three minis in it.
Yeah.
Also Pete Townsend. And I love Pete's tone from the early '70s Who stuff, and he had the mini humbuckers. And really, back in the Racer X days, I had them too because I used to use those old Epiphones that came with the vintage mini humbuckers.
Yeah.
But those just came with them, and I bought those guitars because they were cheap and they were weird, and I could hot rod them. But my experience with them is I didn't love the sound of the vintage ones.
Right.
And so with these, I thought, well, let's see what we can do. And I was just blown away at how, there was nothing lacking. It wasn't like, oh, it's mini, so it's less of something.
Right.
It was less of nothing.
Right.
Is
it tighter? I guess the minis I haven't really. I mean, I've known them on the old vintage ones.
The feeling that I get is it's a little more focused.
Gotcha.
The standard humbucker to me, of course, is still a great pickup, and I still will use one of those,
totally.
all the time. But they're a little more of just a big.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like a big person.
Like a big little guy.
Where this is more somebody that's kind of fit and tough, and they get into the ring and you're surprised. Wow, look it out.
Like that little guy's kind of tougher because he's kind of a little guy.
And at the same time, like single coils have their own character.
Yeah.
But to me, every time I get a single coil, it's like, okay, well, I got to get some pedals that have like way more bass to make up for the thinness of the thing. So this is a real nice, focused tone.
Sure.
And the harmonics don't fight each other, but it's still none of the problems of the single and some of the some of the good stuff of a humbucker, but just a little more tight.
Cool. I like it. What's your favorite distortion pedal?
I always have 3.
Okay.
I've got one on all the time. Typically, I've got a TC Electronic Mojo.
Yeah.
That's kind of the don't leave home without it. Now, today I've left home without it just because I always like to mess around.
Yeah.
And to me, like if I don't use that one, I would have an AC booster, which is what I've got. It's Exotic Effects. Yeah. Kind of the same setup where it's got the treble and the bass. Yeah. So I'm able to adapt to, when I travel, I don't bring my amp typically. Yeah. And if I get like a Marshall JCM 900 or something that's like a really trebly amp, it's nice to have an overdrive pedal where you can really compensate for the lack of treble on the amp by cranking up the bass on the pedal. So right now, I'll turn everything off except for that pedal. This is just the AC booster through a clean Fender. Yeah. Now, for the longest time, I never used any reverb or delay because if you run that into a distorted amp, without the effects, if the effects loop's okay, but if you just run it into the input, it gets really messy and ugly. But if you run the amp clean, it's great. Mm-hmm. It's almost like this is the effects loop, and the amp's clean. So, so if I put on the little, this is Topanga cattle and bread spring reverb.
Ooh, nice.
Really similar, to what the amp would have, but I tend to use Marshalls, so those don't have a reverb. Right. So, and then I've got the Supro delay. I'll put that on by itself. And that's just like if you listen to the end of, or actually when we do the Zeppelin tune tonight, I've got that.
Oh yeah.
And I just want it to answer. So then I put those on together. And I think I stole that from Eric Johnson. I was looking at his pedal board, and he tends to run like a delay into another delay, or a reverb. Cool. So that just makes it a little less nerve-wracking because it's not dry. Right. Then I've got 2 other distortion pedals. One I use a lot, which is a Supro drive, and again, this is all with the AC booster on all the time. Okay. So it just gives me more. And a lot of it, let me see. It's not really something that the listener will detect a huge difference. It's more how I feel. Yep. I've just got more sustain, so I can have a lighter touch. And without it, it takes away some of the bite. Right. Which I like, because a lot of times if you're playing solos, this little thin string, I use 8s. Cool. And I want to make the 8 sound like a 12. Yeah. So, that way, as without it, with it just thickens it up a bit.
Have you always used 8s?
No, I've used everything.
Yeah. How long have you been using 8s?
I've been using real consistently for the last couple of years just because I have an online guitar school and I'm always getting everybody to bend. Right. So when I'm making the lesson and teaching it, I'm sitting there for like 4 hours a day going, okay, we're going to run this BBK. And if I had 11s on my guitar, maybe eventually I would acclimate to it. No. But it's
that's cool though. Did it take you a while to get used to that? Do you play a little bit lighter touch, or is it?
It takes a while for other people to get used to it. Yeah. I love it, but my guitar tech hates it because it's that's harder to keep the guitar in tune with lighter strings. And I remember like I was doing a tour with Mr. Big, and Eric, the singer, picked up my guitar and he's like, I think something's wrong with it, like because he's used to playing like 13s on his acoustic. There's like he's bending everything out of tune. To me, it's not a lighter touch; it's an accurate touch. Right? Yeah. I still beat up the guitar, but I use really light picks. Yeah. So, and it's in tune because I'm playing accurately.
It's probably hard. I'm sure it's a little harder to get accurate at first.
Yeah, but you can beat it up and it's fine. Again, lighter picks help.
They don't break. You're not breaking strings all the time.
I never break strings.
Perfect. Yeah. Are you guys touring again, Mr. Big?
Not for a while. Okay. We toured a lot.
Right.
In the last couple of years, and I don't really want to play those tunes for a while, and unless I get to be the lead vocalist, which like that's what I've been doing with slides. So instead of going, I could go. If I'm the lead vocalist, then it's all right. Totally. But Mr. Big has a lead vocal.
Yep. Well, we love Mr. Big. Awesome.
That's nice.
Cool stuff. Awesome.
Actually, on my solo set, I have been doing Green Tinted with the. And then, of course, the intro. But that leads me to the swirly pedals.
Yes.
Well, and I should mention I've got one other distortion pedal on right now, which is the JHS Bonsai or Bonsai.
Yeah. Ooh.
And,
speaking of bonsai, there you go.
And it's sort of like every Ibanez tube screamer combined into one pedal.
Right. Yeah.
And let's see, I've got mine set on the what is that? MSL. I don't know what that is, but it's just again, I would say it's more distortion and maybe a little bit tighter. Like the Supra is kind of wide and thick, where this is a little more tighter. So if I want like if I want to pick a lot of stuff, probably put on the neck pickup and a lot of times I'll have all three on at the same time. Now my noise gate is just turning them off.
Okay.
Because if I turn them all on, it starts to get a little, a little quiet here, so it's not too bad. So if I'm going to do a lot of fast picking, I'd have all three on. Then I got my warbly pedals. One is a Deja Vibe.
Love that.
And I got it relatively slow right now, but for like that. And then the other's a Callisto chorus by Catalan Bread. And I've got it sort of on the crazy end of things, which I kind of like for like quiet stuff. If I'm going to do like that song we're doing tonight, that's a lot more interesting than that.
Totally. Well, and you're covering like saxophone and piano parts. I mean, you're in that too, right?
We're trying to make
you're making all
three guys into six.
Yep. Cool.
And then I've got a Hendrix. Let's see if I can do it with
mini wah.
Down. Hendrix mini wah from Dunlop, and it's hard to do with sitting. There we go. I was surprised. I've got really big feet.
Yeah, and that works for you.
And it's. I mean, again, it's a different thing sitting down, but. And again, I probably put on another distortion pedal. So. I've got my neck pickup on. The wall is better with the bridge pickup.
Nice.
So that's the wall.
That's awesome.
And it's all plugged into a Voodoo Labs pedal
Power
plus Pedal Power 2 Plus.
Yes.
It's sort of a
and all connected with nice little DiMarzio cables.
Yeah, I love those.
They're awesome. They're great little cables. Cool. Well, hey Paul.
That's my rig for today.
That is a cool rig. Yeah. Maybe we'll go upstairs and check out some pedals, and you might have a new rig tomorrow.
Woohoo!
Yeah,
there we go.
Let's do it. So thank you. Love having you here. Looking forward to playing tonight. And anything else? You touring? You're with your own solo?
I forgot one of the pieces of gear.
Yeah.
It's the my Tortex the Wedge 0.50 millimeter picks.
0.50.
And every heavy metal shred guy is like, how could you ever use such a use a 2 millimeter?
Right.
And first of all, just the pick scratches. try that with a thick pick. You're just not going to get.
Right. Yeah.
And if you think pick scratches are not important, listen to the first sound the guitar makes interruption. Pick scratch.
It's coming. We need more of that.
And the Eddie Van Halen pick scratch is in 3 parts: the slide up, the pick scratch down, and the slide down. So you got.
Nice.
And these have such good pick scratches.
What's the?
These are custom printed.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this is
that is thin. And you don't. I mean, obviously, you're doing it, so you don't need a big heavy. Everyone thinks they need the heavy pick, but you're.
Well, you adapt.
Yeah.
But to me, the nice thing about this is for strumming stuff. And a lot of times, even single notes, if I get into like that kind of Hendrix. Banging away at it.
Yeah.
It's just no fun to do that with a heavy pick. Right. You get caught up.
But I would almost think you were playing a heavy pick there. But anyways, it's cool.
Yeah.
It works. I love it. Thank you for being here.
Right
Can't
on.
wait to. No, do you have a tour with your own solo stuff? Or are you doing I know you. Have
I just finished the U.S. tour, so we're going to Europe next.
Cool.
And Japan. And so your only chance to see me in America is tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Until next year. So
cool. Well. We appreciate you being here. Good luck on that tour.
And also, of course, my online school.
Oh yeah.
If you need to know,
what's the name of that one?
The company's called Artist Works.
Okay.
And it's the Paul Gilbert Rock Guitar School at Perfect. Artist Works.
Okay.
If you Google my name and Artist Works, it'll come up.
And then your website obviously will tell the tour of your solo album. Great. Paul, thanks for being here. Always a pleasure to see you. Looking forward to playing tonight, and thank you very much.
Right on.
Yep.
Rock and roll.
See you soon.